I bet you can't solve this equation. You probably can't even read it. Mrs. Cora Bellingham said it loud enough for the whole class to hear. Then she looked at the only black kid in advanced math and added, "Your kind isn't built for this." She slammed the chalk on his desk. It shattered into white dust. "Get up. Walk to that board right now. Let's see you fail in front of everyone." Students went silent. He stood up, hands shaking. What she didn't know, he'd been teaching himself college-level calculus every night alone. Because teachers like her never believed he belonged. What happened in the next minutes didn't just shock the room, it exposed everything. Drop a comment where you're listening from. Hit subscribe to Beat Stories. You need to see what happens when he picks up that chalk. He wasn't supposed to be in that classroom. Not because he wasn't smart enough, because he was too smart. And he'd learned the hard way that being too smart, too black, and too poor at Jefferson High meant one thing. Keep your head down. He was a sophomore, lived in a small apartment with his mom, who worked double shifts as a hospital administrator just to keep them afloat. That faded black hoodie, the one with frayed cuffs from too many washes, was his armor. Warm against the drafty back row where he always sat, but heavy with the stares it drew. While other kids scrolled TikTok before bed, he watched MIT Open courseware differential equations. Not for homework, not for grades, because math was the only language that made perfect sense. He'd been teaching himself. Started with his late father's engineering textbooks, moved to Khan Academy, then YouTube professors, then college courses online. He solved problems college juniors struggled with. He could visualize calculus like some people visualize music. But nobody at school knew because he had learned what happened when you were too smart and too visible. The bullying, the isolation, the accusation he was trying to act white when he answered correctly. The suspicious looks from teachers who couldn't believe a black kid from his neighborhood could ace advanced tests. So, he made himself invisible. Back row, hood up, earbuds in, answered just enough to maintain his A, but never enough to stand out. His math teacher, Mr. Javier Torres, was the only one who knew. Mr. Torres was young enough to remember being underestimated. He'd figured out the secret when he noticed him finishing tests in half the time, then solving problems that weren't even assigned, complex proofs, multivariable equations, things that shouldn't make sense to a sophomore. One day after class, "Why are you hiding?" He shrugged. "I'm not. I'm just being careful." Careful of what? Of standing out, of giving people another reason to. He stopped. Mr. Torres understood without him finishing. "You're the best student I've had," he said quietly. "You could win competitions, get scholarships, full rides." He looked at the floor. "Or I could just graduate quietly and go to community college like everyone expects. Is that what you want?" He didn't answer because he didn't know anymore. Mr. Torres started meeting him during lunch once a week, secretly prepping him for competitions, giving him college problems, watching him solve things that made even Mr. Torres look up solutions. "You have a gift," he told him more than once. "Don't let fear bury it." But fear was reasonable at Jefferson High. The school was students of color, but advanced placement classes were white and Asian. The honors track was a pipeline to Ivy League, if you had the right last name, the right neighborhood, the right connections. He had none of that. Just raw ability and a used calculator his mom bought for his birthday. His best friend knew bits and pieces. They'd been friends since middle school. He played basketball, got B's and C's, kept his head down in a different way. "Bro, you're going to end up at MIT or something," he had told him once. "Nah, I can't afford it. Scholarships exist for kids like me. They want well-rounded sports, clubs, leadership." He shook his head. "I just do math alone in my room." That's still something. But he didn't believe it. This particular morning felt normal. He arrived, hood up, backpack over one shoulder, headed to second period. A P calculus with Mr. Torres. The hallway smelled like floor cleaner and burnt coffee from the teacher's lounge. Students rushed past. Someone bumped his shoulder. Didn't apologize. He didn't care. Just more minutes until the one class where he could breathe. But when he walked into the room, Mr. Torres wasn't there. At the front stood a woman he had never seen. Older, white, wearing a cardigan that looked expensive, holding a leather briefcase like a shield. Her name was written on the board in sharp, angular letters. Mrs. C. Bellingham. "Take your seats," she said before the bell even rang. Her voice was cold, clipped, like she was already annoyed. "I'm your substitute. Mr. Torres is out sick." He slid into his usual spot, back row corner, as far from attention as possible. He pulled out his notebook, the one with equations scribbled in the margins, clicked his pen, waited for class to start. Mrs. Bellingham stood at the front and scanned the students with an expression he recognized immediately. Suspicion? Discomfort. The look teachers got when they walked into a classroom that didn't look like the ones they were used to. Her eyes lingered on the black and Latino students skipped over the white and Asian ones. He saw it. So did his friend sitting rows ahead. She cleared her throat. "I expect discipline today. I expect respect, and I don't tolerate excuses." Nobody responded. The room stayed quiet, tense. He kept his eyes on his desk. Just get through the period, he thought. Stay invisible. Stay safe. Mrs. Bellingham opened her briefcase, pulled out a stack of papers, set them down with a sharp slap. "Today we're reviewing quadratic equations. I know Mr. Torres has been lenient with his standards, but I maintain proper academic rigor." His jaw tightened. Lenient. Mr. Torres was one of the hardest teachers in the school. A girl in the front row raised her hand. "We're actually on exponential functions. We finished quadratics." Mrs. Bellingham's smile was thin. "Then this will be an easy review for you, won't it?" She lowered her hand. She looked back at the other students, confused. He pulled his hood up slightly, sank lower in his chair. Something felt wrong, off, but he told himself it would be fine. One class period. Then Mr. Torres would be back tomorrow and everything would return to normal. He had no idea that staying invisible would become impossible and that the equation written on the board would change everything. Mrs. Bellingham started the lesson on quadratic equations. She wrote a problem on the board, standard stuff, something he had mastered ago. Find two numbers that multiply to give 6 and add up to 5. But her explanation was wrong. She was overcomplicating the discriminant, mixing up the formula, adding steps that didn't need to be there. He watched, pen frozen in his hand. It was like watching someone insist 2 plus 2 equals 5. The girl in the front row raised her hand. She was white, genuinely trying to follow along. "Mrs. Bellingham, I'm confused. Mr. Torres taught us a different method." "I've been teaching mathematics." Mrs. Bellingham cut her off. "This is the correct method. What Mr. Torres showed you was probably simplified for slower learners." Her face went red. She looked down at her desk. He whispered to his friend sitting next to him. "She's doing it wrong. The formula is b squared minus 4ac, not plus." "Bro, don't," his friend whispered back. "Just let it go." But Mrs. Bellingham heard something. She stopped mid-sentence, turned slowly toward the back of the room. "Excuse me," her eyes locked on him. "Yes, ma'am. Do you have something you'd like to share with the class?" "No, ma'am." "No." She took steps toward him. "Because I distinctly heard you talking. If you have something to say, you can say it to everyone." The classroom went quiet. Other students turned to look at him. He started. "Stand up when I'm speaking to you." He stood slowly. His legs felt weak. "Now, what were you saying?" I thought there might be another way to solve the problem." Mrs. Bellingham's smile was thin and cold. "Another way, I see. And where exactly did you learn advanced mathematics?" "YouTube." Students laughed nervously. His face burned. "YouTube?" she repeated louder. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have an expert here who learned math from the internet." More uncomfortable laughter. Some students looked away. His friend muttered under his breath, "This is messed up." Mrs. Bellingham walked to the board, erased everything. then wrote a new problem, a much harder problem. If you double a number, then double it again, and the result is 64. What's the original number? He recognized it immediately. Exponential thinking. College algebra level way beyond the sophomore curriculum. She set the chalk down with a sharp click. Then she turned to face him directly. Since you seem to think you know better than me, here's a challenge. She paused. Let the silence stretch. Every eye in the room was on them now. I bet you can't solve this problem. His mouth went dry. Mrs. Bellingham took a step closer. Her voice dropped, but it was still loud enough for everyone to hear. You probably can't even understand it. Someone gasped. The girl's hand covered her mouth. Mrs. Bellingham wasn't done. She looked him up and down, looked at his worn hoodie, his old sneakers, his secondhand backpack. Your kind isn't built for this level of thinking. The room went dead silent. He felt like he'd been punched in the chest. He heard his friend suck in a breath beside him. Mrs. Bellingham walked to his desk, picked up the piece of chalk sitting there and slammed it down. The chalk shattered. White dust exploded across his hoodie, his desk, his hands. Get up, she said. Walk to that board right now. He didn't move. He couldn't. His hands were shaking. Let's see you fail in front of everyone. The girl spoke up, her voice small. Mrs. Bellingham, that's not... Quiet, Miss Johnson, unless you'd like detention. She went silent. His friend stood too. This is crazy. He just proved he could do it. Detention, both of you. Another student raised his hand. Mrs. Bellingham, I was recording. He didn't look at his phone. He didn't look at anything. He just solved it. Mrs. Bellingham's face was bright red now. Phones away, all of you, right now. He found his voice. Mrs. Bellingham, you can give me another problem right now. I'll solve it again. You don't tell me what to do in my classroom. I'm not trying to, I'm just saying I can prove... What you can prove, she cut him off, is that you're disruptive and disrespectful. She walked to the classroom phone on the wall, picked it up. Yes, I need security in room. I have a student who needs to be escorted to the principal's office. His stomach dropped. What? To solve the problem? For academic dishonesty? The words hit him like a slap. Academic dishonesty? His voice cracked. I solved your problem. You cheated, and now you're being insubordinate. The room erupted again. What? The girl stood up. Mrs. Bellingham, this is insane. We all saw what happened. Miss Johnson, one more word and you'll be suspended. His friend pulled out his phone, started typing fast. Mrs. Bellingham pointed at him. Put that phone away or I'm confiscating it. I'm texting Mr. Torres. He needs to know what you're doing. Mr. Torres is out sick. I'm in charge of this classroom. The door opened. The school security guard walked in. He was a black man, former military. Everyone liked him. What's going on? He asked. Mrs. Bellingham pointed at him. This student cheated on a math problem and is now being disruptive. I need him removed. The security guard looked at him, then at the board, then back at Mrs. Bellingham. Ma'am, what exactly did he do? He claimed to solve a college-level problem in under minutes. That's impossible. He obviously memorized it or looked it up. The security guard walked to the board, studied it. Did you watch him solve this? Of course I watched. So you saw him write all this step by step in front of you? Mrs. Bellingham hesitated. Yes, but... And his answer is correct. She didn't respond. The security guard turned to him. Son, did you solve this problem yourself? Yes, sir, from scratch. She was watching you the whole time. Yes, sir. The security guard looked at Mrs. Bellingham. His voice was calm but firm. Ma'am, I'm not removing this student. If you want to file a report for academic dishonesty, you can do that through the proper channels. But I'm not taking a kid out of class for being smart. Mrs. Bellingham's hands were shaking. This is unacceptable. I will be speaking to the principal about your insubordination. You're welcome to do that. The bell rang. Class was over, but nobody moved. Students sat frozen watching this standoff. Mrs. Bellingham grabbed her briefcase. Class dismissed. Everyone out now. Students started gathering their things slowly, whispering. The girl walked past him. I got it on video, she whispered. Everything. His friend tapped his phone. I texted Mr. Torres. He's coming. Another student stopped at the door. That was the most messed up thing I've ever seen a teacher do. One by one, students filed out. He stood at the front of the room, still holding the chalk, staring at his own handwriting on the board. Clear steps. Correct answer. Undeniable. Mrs. Bellingham erased them with angry swipes. The evidence disappeared under the felt eraser. She turned to him. Her voice was low and cold. You think you're clever, but I've been teaching. I know a cheater when I see one, and by the end of the day, everyone else will too. She walked out. The security guard put a hand on his shoulder. Son, are you okay? He stared at the empty board, at the white dust still hanging in the air where his proof had been seconds ago. I solved it, he said quietly. I solved it right in front of her. I know you did. So why doesn't it matter? The security guard didn't have an answer for that. He walked back to his desk, grabbed his backpack. His hands were shaking again. The classroom was empty now except for the security guard. He headed for the door. That's when he heard footsteps running down the hallway. The door burst open. Mr. Torres stood there like a storm, sweatpants and all, eyes locked on him, out of breath but burning with purpose. I got the text. Tell me what happened. He told him everything. The insult, the equation, the solution, the accusation, the eraser. Mr. Torres's face went from concern to fury. She said what to you? She said, my kind isn't built for this level of thinking. Mr. Torres closed his eyes, took a breath. Where is she now? Principal's office filing a report against you for cheating. They walked to the principal's office. Students stared as they passed. The secretary looked up. Mr. Torres, you're supposed to be home sick. I need to see Dr. Hayes now. The principal's door opened. Dr. Richard Hayes stepped out. Behind him came Mrs. Bellingham. She stopped when she saw him. Dr. Hayes, Mr. Torres said, we need to talk about what happened in second period. Sam, what are you doing here? You called in sick. I got a text from a student about an incident in my classroom. Mrs. Bellingham spoke up. There was no incident. A student cheated and became disruptive when confronted. That's a lie, he said. How dare you call me a liar? Everyone inside my office, Dr. Hayes said. Now. They filed in. Dr. Hayes behind his desk, Mrs. Bellingham and him in chairs, Mr. Torres and the security guard standing. Someone tell me what happened. Mrs. Bellingham went first. I was teaching advanced equations. This student was whispering and disrupting class. I asked him to solve a problem. He claimed to solve it, but the speed was impossible, clearly memorized. When I questioned him, he became aggressive. That's not what happened, he said. You'll get your turn. The security guard cleared his throat. Sir, when I arrived, the student was calm. The teacher was escalating. Were you there from the beginning? No, sir. Then you don't know what happened. The security guard looked at him. Your version. He kept his voice steady. She asked me to solve an exponential equation. I solved it using substitution about a minute. Then she said, I cheated. Did you cheat? No, sir. Can you prove that? I can solve another equation right now. Mrs. Bellingham laughed short and sharp. Of course he says that. He's had time to prepare. Mr. Torres stepped forward. Dr. Hayes, he's the best math student I've had in my career. He tutors other students. This is completely within his abilities. That's your opinion. You're biased. I favor talented students. Yes, even when they cheat. He didn't cheat. Gentlemen, that's enough. He turned to him. Do you have proof, evidence you solved this honestly? 3 students recorded it. Mrs. Bellingham shook her head. Students lie for their friends. Not credible. Dr. Hayes leaned back. Here's the problem. Mrs. Bellingham says you cheated. You say you didn't. Without the actual problem on the board, it's your word against hers. She erased it. Standard procedure. I needed the board for the next class. He felt something cold in his stomach. Dr. Hayes sighed. I need to suspend you pending investigation. What? Mr. Torres nearly shouted. I have to take academic dishonesty seriously, Sam. There was no dishonesty. That's what we're investigating. For how long? Days minimum. His voice came out small. Mr. Torres's voice was tight. His mother works double shifts at the hospital. A suspension ruins his college applications, his scholarships. I understand the implications. Mrs. Bellingham stood. Perhaps he should have thought of that before cheating. He didn't cheat. Mr. Torres was in her face now. You humiliated him because you couldn't stand that a black kid was smarter than you. The room went silent. Mrs. Bellingham's face was drained of color. How dare you make this about race? You made it about race when you said his kind isn't built for thinking. I never said that. Yes, you did. Brandon, you'll get your turn. The security guard cleared his throat. Sir, when I arrived, the student was calm. The teacher was escalating. Were you there from the beginning? No, sir. Then you don't know what happened. The security guard looked at him. Your version. He kept his voice steady. She asked me to solve an exponential equation. I solved it using substitution about a minute. Then she said, I cheated. Did you cheat? No, sir. Can you prove that? I can solve another equation right now. Mrs. Bellingham laughed short and sharp. Of course, he says that. He's had time to prepare. Mr. Torres stepped forward. Dr. Hayes, he is the best math student I've had in my career. He tutors other students. This is completely within his abilities. That's your opinion. You're biased. I favor talented students. Yes, even when they cheat. He didn't cheat. Gentlemen, that's enough. He turned to him. Do you have proof? Evidence you solved this honestly? 3 students recorded it. Mrs. Bellingham shook her head. Students lie for their friends. Not credible. Dr. Hayes leaned back. Here's the problem. Mrs. Bellingham says you cheated. You say you didn't. Without the actual problem on the board, it's your word against hers. She erased it. Standard procedure. I needed the board for the next class. He felt something cold in his stomach. Dr. Hayes sighed. I need to suspend you pending investigation. What? Mr. Torres nearly shouted. I have to take academic dishonesty seriously, Sam. There was no dishonesty. That's what we're investigating. For how long? Days minimum. His voice came out small. Mr. Torres's voice was tight. His mother works double shifts at the hospital. A suspension ruins his college applications, his scholarships. I understand the implications. Mrs. Bellingham stood. Perhaps he should have thought of that before cheating. He didn't cheat. Mr. Torres was in her face now. You humiliated him because you couldn't stand that a black kid was smarter than you. The room went silent. Mrs. Bellingham's face was drained of color. How dare you make this about race? You made it about race when you said his kind isn't built for thinking. I never said that. Yes, you did. Prove it, Mrs. Bellingham said coldly. Dr. Hayes held up both hands. Everyone stopped. He looked at him. Without concrete evidence, I have to follow protocol. Day suspension starts now. Your mother will be called. He felt the room tilt. Day suspension. Academic dishonesty on his record. His college applications, his scholarships, everything gone. Mr. Torres gripped his shoulder. We're not done fighting this. He walked out in a daze. In the hallway, students stared. His friend appeared. Bro, what happened? Suspended days. For what? Cheating. That's insane. He kept walking out the doors into the parking lot. His phone buzzed. His mom. Baby, the school just called. What's going on? He couldn't speak. Baby, talk to me. Mom, I didn't do anything wrong. I know. I'm leaving work right now. He sat on the curb, stared at the pavement. He'd done everything right, solved the problem perfectly, stayed respectful, None of it mattered. Behind him, voices. He turned. The girl was running across the parking lot, phone raised like a flag. 5 students with her. We got the whole damn thing from slam to erase. The girl stopped in front of him, breathing hard. I recorded the whole thing. What? From when she wrote the equation to when she erased it. Everything. His friend, another student, and 2 others crowded around. All had their phones out. I got it too, different angle. Same. Started recording when she slammed the chalk. You all recorded it. We knew something was wrong, the way she talked to you, so we hit record. His friend pulled up his video. There it was, crystal clear. Mrs. Bellingham, I bet you can't solve this equation. You probably can't even read it. Then your kind isn't built for this level of thinking. The chalk slamming the dust. He solved it. The girl said, We have 5 videos. She can't deny this. Already sent it, his friend said. I sent it to my mom. She's a lawyer. She's calling the school now. Posted it in the school Discord. People have seen it. He stared at them. Kids he barely knew taking risks for him. Why? Because what she did was wrong. The parking lot filled with more students. Word spreads fast. His mom's car pulled up. She got out in her hospital scrubs and hugged him tight. Baby, are you okay? Yeah, Mom. School told me about the test. I can do it. I know. Your father would be so proud. He felt tears, didn't hide them. Dr. Hayes stepped forward. I think we can agree his abilities are verified. Applause filled the library. He stood there, marker in hand, not quite believing it. The girl hugged him. You did it. His friend right behind. That last problem was insane. His mom pushed through, grabbed his face. Baby, I'm so proud. Mr. Torres appeared. I told you. He felt tears, didn't hide them. Dr. Hayes raised his voice. Give him space. The crowd backed up. He turned to the proctors. Will you file a formal report? Absolutely. He operates at a level we rarely see. Your understanding surpasses most of my students. Where did you learn this? YouTube online lectures, my dad's old textbooks. You taught yourself. Yes, ma'am. She shook her head. Remarkable. Dr. Hayes continued. The board reviewed the videos. They found a pattern. Years, academic dishonesty reports filed by Mrs. Bellingham were students of color, none substantiated. Murmurs rippled through the room. New protocol starting immediately. Any cheating accusation requires video evidence and second teacher verification before discipline. What about his record? Completely expunged, official apology sent to his family. What about the harm done? The district is offering counseling, and we'd like to discuss advanced placement, dual enrollment at community college scholarship opportunities. I'd like permission to share your results with university programs. MIT has a summer program for exceptional students. MIT? His voice cracked. You belong there. He looked at his mom. She nodded, crying. Yes, thank you. Students came up, handshakes, hugs, support. He stood surrounded by proof. He wasn't invisible anymore. The school held an assembly later. The entire student body packed the auditorium. Teachers lined the walls, news cameras in back. He sat front row between his mom and Mr. Torres. Dr. Hayes walked onto stage. The room went quiet. Something happened here that should never happen anywhere. A student was publicly humiliated, falsely accused, suspended without evidence. He paused. That student is him. Today, on behalf of Jefferson High and the district, I offer a formal public apology. He faced him. We failed you. Failed to protect you, failed to believe you, failed to see your talent because we were blinded by bias. Silence. You deserved better. I am deeply sorry. He nodded. The school board completed its investigation. Contract terminated. She will never teach again. Applause started, grew louder. We found discrimination spanning schools, students. Each receives a formal apology and cleared records. More applause. But apologies aren't enough. Action is required. Effective immediately, these changes, he read from paper. 1. All substitutes complete anti-bias training before teaching. 2. Cheating accusations require video evidence and faculty verifications before discipline. 3. Student advocate position created for confidential reporting. 4. Quarterly audits of disciplinary actions across all demographics. Students listened intently. 5. Scholarship fund annually for wrongly accused students named after his father. His mom's eyes filled. Mr. Torres squeezed his shoulder. He has been accepted into the state early college program. University mathematics courses starting next semester. The auditorium erupted. Students stood, cheered. He felt his face burn. Walked on stage when Dr. Hayes gestured. Dr. Hayes handed him the microphone. He looked at hundreds of faces. I'm not good at speeches, better with equations. Warm laughter. What happened to me shouldn't have happened, but it did. I'm not the first. Mrs. Bellingham accused others before me. Quiet again. I was lucky. Friends recorded evidence. A teacher believed me. My mom fought. Not every student has that. He looked at the administrators. These rules are good, but rules only work if people follow them. If teachers see students for who they are, not what they look like. He paused. I hid in that hoodie like it was a shield. But y'all turned phones into swords. Students murmured agreement. Some nodded. I'm not hiding anymore. I hope no other student feels like they have to. Not their intelligence, not their talent, not who they are. He looked at the girl, his friend, the other student, the other girl. Thank you for seeing me, for standing with me, for recording the truth. When power tried to erase it, handed microphone back, applause deafening. Everyone stood. He walked off stage. Mom grabbed him. Your father would be so proud. Mr. Torres shook his hand. You changed this school. The girl hugged him, then his friend, then students he barely knew. All saying, congratulations, thank you. We see you. For the first time, he didn't want to disappear. He wanted to be seen. And finally he was. Later, he walked through Jefferson High wearing a state university hoodie. Days a week here, days at college, taking real mathematics courses with professors. And he belonged. The whispers changed. No longer the kid who got accused, now the kid who proved them wrong. The girl caught him at his locker. Hey, college boy, how were differential equations? Hard but good. His friend walked up. Are you still helping with the math club tomorrow? Yeah. New members this week. Everyone wants to learn from you. He felt warmth in his chest, pride, purpose. Mr. Torres appeared. Got a minute? They walked to the empty classroom where it all started. MIT accepted your application. Mr. Torres said full scholarship. His eyes went wide. What? They saw the report, saw the videos. They want you. He sat down hard. MIT, his father's dream school. You did it, Mr. Torres said quietly. We did it. You believed in me when nobody else did. I just saw what was already there. They sat in silence for a moment. Mr. Torres, how many other kids are out there like me? Smart, capable, but invisible. Mr. Torres's face grew serious. Too many. What if we change that? He stood. A program, free tutoring, online resources for kids who don't have access, who can't afford prep courses, who get overlooked. Mr. Torres smiled. You want to build something. I want to be the person I need. Then let's do it. Here's what haunts me about this story. Mrs. Bellingham had been doing this. After his case went viral, the school board investigated her record. Students accused of cheating. Of them were Black or Latino. Not a single accusation was ever proven true. Kids had their futures nearly destroyed because one teacher couldn't believe they were capable of excellence. And nobody stopped her until his classmates hit record on their phones. This story is real. I changed the names, but everything you heard actually happened. And it's happening right now in classrooms across America. Right this second, there's a brilliant kid being told they're not good enough, a student being steered away from their dreams, a teenager being punished for daring to be excellent while black, while poor, while different. He won because people recorded the truth, because his classmates shared those videos, because the internet made it impossible to hide what happened. That's the power we have now. He told me something that still gets me. He said, I didn't go viral because I was special. I went viral because what happened to me happens every single day. I just got lucky that someone filmed it. Lucky. A brilliant kid needed luck to get justice. But here's the thing, we can create that luck for the next one. If this story moved you, hit that like button. Not for me, for every kid who's been counted out. Your like is a vote that says these stories matter. Subscribe to this channel because next week I'm bringing you another story like this. Real people fighting back against systems that tried to crush them. And most importantly, share this video. Send it to that teacher who believes in their students. Send it to the kid who needs to know they're not alone. Because your share might save someone's future.